More often than not, when I hear that a medical doctor is very supportive of a client that I'm working with, when I hear positive things going on, when I talk to colleagues that are in my functional medicine style types of trainings and groups, it really was the medical doctor themselves that needed to step outside and get additional training, whether that was in nutrition, whether that was in functional medicine, and to really see and learn a different approach. I've never been to medical school, so I don't know exactly what that curriculum is. However, I'd say more often than not, it's just not what they focus on. I've been told and looked at a few curriculums where there might be one nutrition class for an entire 4 to 8 years in terms of a medical degree. I think a lot of it is focused on trauma, emergencies, medical type of care, bleeding out, strokes, this type of issue. And also the tools that they're trained on is pharmaceuticals, procedures, radiation, etc. So if that's what you're focusing on, it's important to let people know what they're good at and what they're not good at, what they've studied and trained on and how they practice and what they have not been trained on. I think a lot of times our culture expects our doctors to know everything under the sun. But the reality is, medical doctors are trained in medicine, in today's modern age, pharmaceutical management. And that is a very different conversation than building and promoting health. So a lot of times, I think it's the structure. I think it's the education system of the medical profession where they're keeping them in this lane. So probably a lot of medical doctors, and I've talked to colleagues at my groups, they just don't have any of the education over here, so they're not going to speak to it. And then structurally, when you go and see a doctor, in a lot of settings, you might get 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, they're not going to be able to detail out a recommendation plan, a dietary approach, coach you through the hardships that come with changing your life and making habitual changes, mindset coaching. It's just one, they don't have the training. Two, they don't even have the structure to deliver something like that. And then the medical friends and doctors that I do know and that I have heard from that are a little bit more in this, at least supporting the natural approaches or encouraging their patients to do that. Most of the time, it's because they've stepped outside of that training alone. They've gone to something else. When I went to a lot of my clinical nutrition trainings, functional medicine trainings 10 years ago, even 15 years ago, it was mostly alternative doctors, chiropractors, acupuncturists, nutritionists, this type of professions. And today, I'm super happy to see it's like 50-50 now. It's 50% alternative holistic style doctors and 50% medical doctors who are actually getting this education to help deliver additional approaches and the training and the coaching that their patients need because many of them would probably agree with me on a lot of my perspectives, which is I'm sick and tired of just medicating people. They're not really getting better. They're not transforming their lives. And every single time I meet them, their numbers are worse. They're getting sicker, and I'm telling them to up their meds. So a lot of the doctors who I think are humble enough and open enough, they get tired of that as well too, and they just want to step out and get some new tools and strategies to help patients because they know that just doing long-term chronic disease management with pharmaceuticals only is oftentimes a path to a dead end.